It's almost time for various WWE talents to descend on the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, all in the name of taking things to the extreme. But before that, let's talk about what could possibly happen on this card. I'm John Rentham with my WWE Extreme Rules 2022 predictions. Let me know your predictions in the comments, please. And full disclosure, I'm recording these Tuesday morning because I'm going to be busy the rest of the week, and in fact, into next week because of a bunch of schedule change and my time is limited. And since the card is pretty much locked down, each match has a stipulation, and there's a couple possibilities for main events and a couple possible surprises. I mean, why wait? And especially considering this SmackDown is about 24 hours before the next premium live event, Extreme Rules, and I doubt outside of a pre-show match they're going to add much to it. So, honestly, this card doesn't look that bad. I think the over-reliance on stipulation matches is almost a bit much, but then again, if this is the one night of the year where the superstars of Raw and SmackDown go head-to-head, no, they're no longer doing that. This is where they get extreme. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania has a rich history as far as professional wrestling goes, and especially when it comes to extreme wrestling. I mean, EC-dub, EC-dub, EC-dub. So nevertheless, the first match, Liv Morgan versus Rousey the Raccoon. And I'm going to keep calling her Rousey the Raccoon because her makeup looks fucking ridiculous. Liv Morgan is defending her SmackDown Women's Championship in an Extreme Rules match against Rousey the Raccoon. Now, logic would dictate that it's time for Rousey to take the title back from Liv, but I think this is what's going to happen. I think Liv's going to pull it out because, honestly, Ronda really has no business being champion. And if they're going to build Rousey the Raccoon versus Becky Lynch, if Becky Lynch is able to be back in time and build that for Mania, that doesn't need a fucking title. It doesn't need a title. You just establish the fact that Becky is the man. She's big time Bex, whatever. She can be the one to oust Rousey the Raccoon from the goddamn company. But this is about Liv versus Rousey. Liv is somehow going to pull this out because I think Shayna Baszler is going to show up and it's going to be all about Rousey saying, you used to be dominant and everything, and Shayna's going to beat up Ronda, and then they're going to have that feud for a while, and then Liv's going to go on probably to lose the title to Charlotte eventually. I'm going to go with Liv retaining. I'm not saying that with a whole ton of confidence, not because I don't like Liv, but because I don't trust how they've exactly been featuring her. They do some good stuff, and then they make her look weird and everything. This could be hard-hitting, and Liv has definitely improved, and I appreciate the effort that she put in before she became SmackDown Women's Champion and how she has carried herself. So I'm going to go with Liv Morgan winning, but only because Shayna attacks Rousey the Raccoon. Now we get to Sheamus, Ridge, and Peter Dunne against Imperium, Gunther, the Glory of the Kaiser, and not Fabian Eichner, Giovanni Vinci. Hey, at least they got him back in the group he should have never fucking left to begin with. It's a six-man, good old-fashioned Donnybrook. Okay, now, if they want to have Sheamus and Gunther continue this feud, then Sheamus' group needs a little bit of a rub. You need to rub the brutes. So that's going differently in my mind. But after they beat the absolute tar out of each other in Cardiff, Wales, beating so much tar out of each other, it's now the Cardiff Pits. Oh boy, that was fucking terrible. And a great hard-hitting match that was absolutely fucking incredible. Great shit. Really, really loved it. I expect that they may use a little bit of weaponry, and maybe they even use a shrubbery. Sorry, I had to do it. I just watched Monty Python, the Holy Grail on TV, and my God, it's just so fucking great. But I think that Sheamus, Ridge, and Peter Dunne are going to get the victory, because you could have Kaiser or Vinci take the fall after a hard-hitting 15-minute match where it's just wild and all over the goddamn place, and it won't hurt Gunther. Also, I think Gunther needs to beat the Honky Tonk Man's Intercontinental Championship record, because Honky Tonk Man has no business having any kind of record except being a record-breaking piece of shit that didn't want to do the goddamn job in WCW. His Honky Tonk Man's a goddamn idiot that overestimated his own worth. I mean, but anyway, nevertheless, Gunther should continue to hold the Intercontinental Championship, but this isn't for the title. Sheamus, Ridge, and Peter Dunne are going to get the victory. Now we get to a match I think that could possibly main event for a certain reason I'll get to. It's Edge versus Finn Balor with Judgment Day I Quit match. Okay, if Edge wins, then what I think is going to happen is suddenly the lights are going to go out, and it's going to be at least a tease of The Fiend and maybe Joe Wayne Gacy, Fowler, and Jägermeister being called up, because that's a trio that's absolutely going to 100% get over on the main roster. they're like almost like turn the channel off stuff. Even though Joe Wayne Gacy isn't that bad, that group is just freaking death. But you can get a new group for the impending return of the Fiend Bray Wyatt, the White Rabbit, the whatever. We'll see what happens, but I think that if Edge wins, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get a feud between Edge and the Fiend. Or you could have Balor win, and Judgment Day could threaten Beth and their kids because they'll be in the front row. I mean, I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but that's the only way I can see Balor winning is if they threaten Edge's family. Because he said, you can't physically hurt me enough to make me say I quit. You hurt the man's family, though, but then that means the feud has to continue. Maybe Ray ends up costing Edge on accident because he doesn't want him to hit Dominic. I mean, I don't know. I'll say Edge wins, and then you have The Fiend show up, possibly. Or McIntyre versus Cross in a strap match. Scarlett should not be anywhere near ringside because she shouldn't be at ringside, anywhere near ringside because she's going to botch a fireball or botch something because I know things happen, but good fucking grief, that was fucking ridiculous. It's a strap match. I have McIntyre winning. And this is another time where you could actually have a tease of The Fiend coming back. Now, this couldn't be the main event, so that's probably not where it's going to happen. But I have McIntyre winning because, honestly, Cross has no fucking business being back in WWE. I mean, it was bullshit that they gave him the Dominatrix Lord Humongous thing, the Gimp outfit, and cut him off at the goddamn knees. But after that, I don't think he was really missed all that much. And after seeing him versus Davey Boy Smith Jr., or Harry Smith Jr., whatever the fuck they're calling him, on that Ric Flair's last match card, and it was easily the worst match of the night. It was fucking terrible. Really didn't have any desire to see Cross come back. And then he did, and it hasn't really been met with a whole lot of fanfare. They've gone to Canada a few times, and he hasn't been able to be there. I wonder why. McIntyre will win. Maybe they find a way to continue this feud, but honestly, this feud has not been that great to me. Then we get Riddle versus Rollins in a fight pit match. Daniel Cormier as the referee. Okay. Rollins could win because he has an upcoming U.S. Championship match. But if Riddle wins, then Rollins could be all beat up. Lashley could beat him, and you could have something else going on. Or you could have Rollins lose here, beat Lashley for no goddamn reason, and then Ali takes the title from Rollins at Mania. I'm just blue skying shit at this point because this card doesn't have a whole lot of meat to it outside of like a couple matches, like I said. But I'll have Riddle win. Why the fuck not? Because Rollins won at Clash at the Castle, and Riddle winning the fight pit would be cool. And I think this could main event. And here's why I think this can main event. Not because of The Fiend. No, I don't think that. But Daniel Cormier is a special guest referee. Riddle could win. And then you have the Beast Bork Laser come out. And you have the Bork stare down Daniel Cormier. And then you have that match at Crown Jewel. Because Daniel Cormier has always been a fan of professional wrestling and always respects it. And I think that's possibly where they're going to go. But if Riddle and Rollins main event, I think it'd be very hard hitting, and I think there's going to be blood. Now, I'm not saying that you need to blade, but I think there's going to be some hard ways. These two really don't like each other. And I don't blame Rollins because Riddle is kind of a piece of shit. But that being said, that's what I think is happening. Riddle wins, then Bork shows up and challenges Cormier. Or Rollins wins. They do that anyway, and then Rollins beats Lashley for the U.S. title. Then we move on to what I think, if they don't bother teasing much of anything outside of a little bit of a reveal of The Fiend, Joe, whoever the fuck it is, then I think the women should main event. And it should be Bianca Belair with Alexa, unfortunately, and Asuka versus Bayley with Damage Control, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. Ladder match for the Raw Women's Championship. Now, Bayley was standing tall at the end of Raw, so you could think that maybe she wouldn't win. I think there's a chance she could, because I think it's one of the only ways you could take the title off of Bianca without damaging her that much, and then you could build to a rematch. Or what you could do is you could have Bianca win, Bayley could eventually win down the road, but it almost feels like time. And that's not knocking Bianca. I think Bianca could somehow get slotted into going after Charlotte. If Charlotte wins the SmackDown Women's Championship, then she could beat all 4 horsewomen. And that could actually make sense. But if Bayley doesn't win here, And yeah, if she just returned, they could always, of course, build another rematch. I just don't understand where else they would go unless Bayley somehow pulls it off. So I think numbers game is going to get Bianca. I think Bayley's going to win, and she's going to go on to have a dominant run as Raw Women's Champion. Who do you build up to have beat her? I have no goddamn idea. But that's what I think is going to happen. And maybe The Fiend will show up, maybe he won't, I don't really know. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ricklin. I'll see you soon.